The rain had been falling for hours in Seattle, washing over the sidewalks and pooling in the small cracks of the streets. I sat by the living room window, holding a cup of lukewarm tea I had brewed 2 hours earlier, but never drank. It had been 6 months since the divorce, and though I tried my best to keep going, there were still mornings when I woke up and felt the emptiness settle over me like a heavy blanket. My name is Rebecca Carter. I'm 43 years old, a high school English teacher, and the single mother of a 19-year-old son named Ethan. Life had once felt like a stable, predictable road, a steady marriage, a cozy home, and dreams I thought would last forever. But after years of unspoken resentment, financial strain, and too many missed conversations, my marriage crumbled. My husband, Daniel, moved out and quickly built a new life without me. Ethan chose to stay with me. I didn't ask him to. I didn't beg him. But when the day came for Daniel to pack his things, Ethan simply told me, "Mom, I'm staying here." Those 4 words broke me open in a way nothing else had, not in sadness, but in a strange, aching gratitude. At first, we didn't talk about the divorce much. We lived in the same house like two people who were tiptoeing around a wound. Ethan was in his first year of community college, working part-time at a coffee shop downtown. Our schedules often clashed. I'd come home late from grading papers. He'd be heading out to study or work. One Friday evening, I was sitting at the kitchen table, grading a stack of essays, when Ethan came in holding a paper bag. "I brought dinner," he said, setting it down. "Your favorite chicken pho from that little place on 5th. I looked up at him, surprised. "You didn't have to do that." He shrugged. "You've been looking tired lately. Thought we could eat together." It was such a small thing, but that night, as we sat across from each other slurping noodles, I felt something shift. I saw my son not just as the boy I had raised, but as a young man making space for me in his life. Over the next few weeks, these small gestures kept happening. He'd fix the leaky bathroom faucet without being asked. He'd send me a text during the day just to check in. Sometimes, when I looked drained, he'd suggest we take a walk down by the pier. One Saturday morning in early spring, Ethan burst into my room holding 2 travel mugs of coffee. "Come on, Mom. I'm taking you somewhere." I groaned. "It's Saturday. I was planning to sleep in." "You can sleep later. You need this." Reluctantly, I got dressed, pulled my hair into a messy bun, and followed him to the car. He drove us out toward Discovery Park, one of my favorite places when I first moved to Seattle. We hadn't been there in years. As we walked the trails, the air smelled like wet earth and blooming cherry blossoms. Ethan pointed out tiny birds darting between branches and made a terrible joke about squirrels being Seattle's unofficial tour guides. I laughed harder than I had in months. Halfway through the trail, we stopped at a bluff overlooking Puget Sound. The water shimmered in the morning light, and Mount Rainier stood majestic in the distance. Ethan turned to me. "I know things have been hard. I don't want you to lose yourself in all of this. You've always been my anchor, Mom. Now, I want to be yours for a while." My throat tightened, and I couldn't speak for a moment. I reached for his hand and squeezed it. From that day on, we made it a habit to do something together every weekend. Sometimes it was a walk in the park. Sometimes we'd try a new restaurant. Once, we spent the entire day rearranging the living room furniture just to see if it felt happier. Slowly, I found myself looking forward to things again. I started painting again, something I hadn't done since college. Ethan even surprised me by clearing out a corner of the spare room and setting up an easel. "Every artist needs a studio," he said with a grin. Months passed, and the heavy ache that had lived in my chest began to soften. I still had moments when the memories of my marriage crept in, but they didn't consume me anymore. One crisp autumn evening, we were sitting on the porch watching the leaves drift down from the maple tree in the yard. I turned to Ethan and said, "You saved me, you know." He frowned. "I didn't do anything special." "You were here," I said simply. "You reminded me that my life isn't over, that I still matter. That's more than special." Ethan smiled, and for a moment, I saw the little boy he used to be, the one who would climb into my lap with a picture book and demand I read it 3 times in a row. The road ahead was still uncertain. I didn't know what the future would hold, but I knew this. After the divorce, my son brought light back into my life. And that light was enough to guide me forward. SEO short title. After the divorce, my son helped me heal. Heartwarming story. SEO description. A touching, family-friendly story of how a mother found hope, joy, and purpose again after her divorce, thanks to the love and support of her son. Hashtags. Hashtag family story, hashtag mother and son, hashtag inspiring story, hashtag life after divorce, hashtag heartwarming, hashtag positive vibes, hashtag YouTube stories. Picture prompt, YouTube safe, wholesome. A wholesome, beautiful American woman in her early 40s with warm hazel eyes, shoulder-length wavy brown hair, wearing a cozy cream sweater and jeans, sitting on a porch with a soft autumn background, holding a mug of coffee, looking content and hopeful.